Guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with a Good Morning Portugal show, a live stream and podcast. How are you today? Bonjour, says Mr. S. Comment allez-vous? Must still be in France or still enjoying the French vibe and has moved on. Don't know. Where are you, Mr. S? Do let us know. What does it say on your profile picture there in Portuguese? Good to have your company this week. Nice to see more of you. Jackie, the humble crafter. Oh, I'm on the wrong mic as well. How does that happen, I wonder? Thank you so much, T-Duck. Yes, we're on the webcam microphone. Must sound awful. Sounds like I'm in the toilet, bro. Nobody wants that first thing in the morning. How about that? Is that better now, T-Duck? Cheers, mate. Thank you for pointing that out. And Larry, I meant to get back in touch with you yesterday after seeing you crying on the screen. Thank you. Wrong mic. Audio muffled. Mike! The producers are shouting at me from the screen, from the comments. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I think that's okay now. Larry, yeah, you've got a Bon Dia do Deserto do Arizona, which sounds amazing. It must be amazing out in the middle of the Arizona. Well, you're not in the middle, I don't think, are you? But I think you're in quite a remote location. And crying that you can't be with us on Friday. Sorry, Larry, it's gonna be a little bit more painful today because we've got Marco joining us this morning. Hopefully, we got the days mixed up yesterday. Miguel did a great job, and we'll talk to Marco a little later in the show today. And I think we've learned enough about the event, and it was enough to have some people get in touch and say, "Can we come on Friday?" So see you there on Friday, and we'll hear more from Marco about the origin story of the Storyteller's Palace. He is the original storyteller. The building itself has a great story. The hotel now that he runs has a great story. The event on Friday is all about the stories. He's all about the stories. Is Marco Ares, and he'll be joining us at around 9:45 to say more about his background as a filmmaker in Portugal and what inspired him to start the Storyteller's Palace here in San Martino de Porto. So looking forward to having a chat with Marco, as I am Claudio, who's stuck in traffic this morning. Got a message from Claudio Martins, who of course is the main man at Herdade Do Meio and UrHome. And we'll speak to him and have a little. Well, what I was hoping to do is have a site visit and a little wander about. It's really nice to see what's new at Herdade Do Meio as it gently rises from the ground and the finishing touches. There are sort of fits and starts, aren't there, with any building project? And I think we're into a fairly slow process now of the finishing touches of those beautiful homes at Herdade Do Meio. He might not be there in time because of a big traffic jam in Lisbon this morning, or heading towards the Margem Sul. So he's going to have a chat with us from his car, and we'll see what's going on with him. He's a great bloke. We haven't spoken to him since he ran in the Lisbon Marathon. So well done, Claudio, on that. We'll chat to him briefly about his marathon performance, as well as what's going on at the big building marathon at Herdade Do Meio. See what I did there. We've got Astrid joining us, I hope, in a few minutes as well. The big weekend in Porto. People are making their way to Porto for the Expats Portugal meetup. And although the wine tour is sold out, there are still some spaces at the Mexican restaurant for dinner. You can meet Hank and Connie up there and many other Expats Portugal community members. They're going to be having a lot of fun this weekend, and we'll be talking to Sarah Davies, heading up that way too. And we'll talk to her on Friday, live from Porto. Right, excellent. Oh, and of course, last but not least, Stewart Noakes is back this morning talking about Web Summit. I think he's actually he's getting ready to fly to Portugal this morning, and he's heading to the Algarve Tech Center, or tech. I don't think it's a summit. It's an ongoing tech project in the Algarve. He'll tell us more about that anyway when he arrives at around 9:15 this morning. Good morning to you, Mike and Karen. Yes, I think I saw a message, did I not, from you, Mike, about the San Martino de Porto lunch. I believe that's next Wednesday now, not the fourth Wednesday. This is a funny old month, and we'll have some interesting programming for you because we've got a fifth Monday, a fifth Tuesday, a fifth Wednesday, and a fifth Thursday. next week. So it's a big, long old month, isn't it, of 31 days and 5 weeks. So we'll have some slightly off-piste programming for you, and perhaps see you, Mike and Karen, at the Storytellers next Wednesday. Bon dia, Gumpers. Had a great time meeting fellow Gumpers. Marcus and Bill, how lovely, for lunch yesterday. Enjoyed getting a tour of their beautiful home. It is beautiful, isn't it? I've only seen pictures, but wow, what a place they have there. Thanks for being here this morning, Karen and Mike. T-Duck, Jackie, Larry, James, Coach Turner, Mr. S so far, and now, of course, Astrid, who joins us on the screen. Here she is. Hola, bom dia, tudo bem?
Bom dia, Carla. Tudo bem?
Muito bem, obrigado. Yeah, bright and breezy this morning. Looking pretty good. How's it looking in Cascais?
It's good. It's very nice. I think we've got a nice warm day of about 26 degrees. So very happy with that.
Here we go. A bit of a late summer. All those people moaning about the weather. Not me. I never moan about the weather. Can now.
I like it all different. I love it these months when we're going through the change of season. You know, when
yes,
it goes down.
Exactly. And we still get the occasional beautiful day, don't we? Went to the beach yesterday.
Yeah,
it was lovely. Absolutely lovely. Great time of year in Portugal when it's bright and hot in the middle of the day. And as you say, a little autumnal and moody in the mornings and the evening. Some nice contrast.
Yes, very much so.
So I was just saying, you must be getting ready to go to Porto this weekend.
Yes, it's the last call. I'm going to close it off today for the Mexican dinner that we've got booked. So if your audience want to come, please jump on the website before the close of day today and book your tickets for a big Mexican feast at a restaurant called Frida. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. So it's in Porto. So the wine tasting did sell out a couple of weeks ago, but we still have some seats available at the restaurant. But I do need to close that at the end of day today.
Right. I am popping the link in for that onto the screen. Now, Mexican food is the most missed, I would say, by American arrivals here in Portugal. Right? There's often that complaint, isn't there, that they miss Mexican food. What do we know about this Mexican restaurant up in Porto?
What do we know? Like, I think it's not like a Taco Bell or anything like that. This is good Mexican, authentic Mexican food with a bit of a modern twist. So the owners seem very knowledgeable about traditional or authentic Mexican, and the menu definitely shows that too. So and we've got, for premium members of Expats Portugal, we've got a complimentary margarita on arrival.
Of course you have. Fantastic.
Yes, so thank you to our sponsors who are Spartan FX, Holborn and Insurance, and they'll be shouting everyone a drink on arrival. So
how lovely. That'll get the Mexican party started, won't it? A margarita on arrival. That's fantastic.
And especially after we've been wine tasting all afternoon, then we're going to go along and have a complimentary margarita.
How is it work? Can't wait for the pictures. Fantastic. All right, well, that's the weekend. And a chance to meet the legendary Hank and Connie, of course. Connie and Hank up there in Portugal.
Yes, and there's going to be other Dream Team members there as well. Well, I'll be there, and Sarah from Spartan will be there. Nuno from Insurance will be there. Pedro from EI will be there. So we've got quite a few of the Dream Team there, so you can get if you've got any sort of questions or you want to get to meet them in real person and touch them, then it's a good place to be.
Excellent. Or get a selfie. Yes, send in the selfies next week of the meetup in Porto. Great. Sounds like wonderful fun. Fantastic. And tomorrow evening, then, we've got a slightly unusual webinar. I'm really looking forward to this one. This is going to be talking to people about their experience here in Portugal, which is always interesting from the arrivals point of view. We usually talk to a professional, don't we? But we talk occasionally to people about their own experience of arriving. So what's happening tomorrow evening?
So it's we've got some guests who have actually chosen to retire in Portugal. We've got a couple from the UK and some people from the US, and just really to explain what it's like to actually retire here. So if that's your stage of life and you're looking for somewhere to spend your older or more mature years, it's a good one to come along, because just what it's really like, making friends and missing family and making the plunge and language difficulties that might be in place, and all of those little things that if you are considering coming to Portugal for a retirement, those questions that you would love to ask and know about. So I think it'll be good. Like a bit like a Just Landed, but these people have been here for a little bit longer, so it's about their experience and what it's been like.
And a little bit more to say about what it's like to retire.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, there's two things going on.
Living, how they're surviving with cost of living as well is always a good one if they are on a pension or a limited income. How they're managing with that, and I think it'd be a good opportunity to ask questions and find out more about it before you come here.
And then the rock and roll of migration to Portugal, the Dream Team session at 9:00 tomorrow night as well.
Yes, that's right. At 9:00 Lisbon time, people can RSVP on the site and get sent the link. And we've also got earlier on at 5:00 in the afternoon a golden visa update with our friends from Holborn Assets. So if anybody is interested in that and they'd like to attend, you can RSVP for your link on the events calendar on the site as well.
Very good. I think Jason got married recently, so congratulations to him.
Yeah. But did you know that he's like 6'7"?
No, I didn't. But if we have like a Good Morning Portugal and Expats Portugal basketball team, we definitely need him, right?
I was very surprised because I think I'm quite tall for a female woman, but I was chatting with him and he said, "Oh, I'm 6'7". I'm like, "What? That's absolutely crazy." So I haven't met him in person, but because he's down in the Algarve, but yeah, 6'7".
Well, definitely selfies with him then for the Algarve meetup when that happens. Okay, brilliant. 6'7". That's
any volunteers who want to help me, then by all means put your hand up and contact me, and we can organise some more meetups around the country.
That sounds great. Excellent. Yeah, and with the retirement special tomorrow night, I think that's especially interesting because that's a big life change on two levels, isn't it? You're not only moving country, you are adjusting to retirement as well if you haven't already done so. So that's going to be an interesting conversation.
How do they spend their day? What are they doing to occupy themselves? Are they volunteering in any groups and that kind of information? I think it'd be really good. So
there are only so many pastel de natas and gin and tonics you can consume.
Or red wine.
I'm talking of gin and tonics. So there was a great last question on the Dream Team. I like to ask a cultural question at the end of the Dream Team. And as usual, Gilda brought the house down with her response to the question, what have you learned from foreigners? I decided to ask the panel what they'd learned from expats and foreigners in working with people who are moving to Portugal. And Gilda said, I've learned so many things, but I also need to let you know that I have this book here. And she held up a book and said, all those people who promised me lunch or a drink or a visit to their house and swimming pool, I have all your names and addresses in here. So be afraid. Be very afraid.
She's a very busy woman, but she still finds time to keep that.
She'll make time for a G&T by your pool. So if you made that promise, you better make good on it at some point soon. All right, Astrid, thanks very much. See you tomorrow evening for those two webinars, and have a great time. I can't make it to this weekend, but have a lovely time in Porto.
Will do. Okay. Bye.
All right. Ciao. See you, Astrid. Bye for now. Right, and we should keep that applause going. He might be at Bristol Airport, the Babber. Let's have a see if he's there. All right, Albert.
Hello, matey. It's great today.
Are you at Bristol Airport?
I am in Bristol Airport, waiting for my flight to Faro. So, yeah, that'll be later on today.
Rock and roll, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the Algarve Tech Summit this week, so I'll be speaking on a panel tomorrow.
Will you?
Albufeira.
Yeah.
Not that I say it very well, but at least I can find it.
You can. You'll hear it. You'll hear it before you see it, Albufeira, won't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's
out on the Raz, are we? Okay.
Not me. No, not at all. But looking forward to the summit. It used to be called Share Algarve, and now they've morphed it into kind of this more tech focused. And it's instead of being one day, it's like 2.5, 3 days worth of stuff. So. Yeah,
sounds really exciting. I'd love to know more because you're going to talk about Web Summit. So let's first talk about your tech summit in the Algarve this weekend, because as you mentioned, Albufeira, it's synonymous with partying, isn't it? The Algarve and retirement, and golf and gin and tonics and things like that. But sounds like there's a thriving tech scene going on down there at the moment, or developing.
Well, Carl, I would like to take credit for it, but it's been a couple of different people. In fact, a whole group of people that have worked really hard for the last 10 years to try and build that kind of scene in the Algarve. And the principal vehicle behind that's in a group called the Algarve Evolution.
Yeah.
And they've done a lot of work, particularly lobbying with like the CCDR and going up into Lisbon and lobbying with more national government to get some money down into the Algarve to focus on tech and community.
Yeah.
Part of that money funded a building in the campus of the University of the Algarve, which is called the Algarve Tech Hub. And there are actually 9 incubadoras across the science and technology parks in the Algarve that are all housing startups and doing things. And then what the Algarve Evolution is, it's about sort of 200 or 300 tech companies that have come together with their love for the Algarve to try and make things happen.
Brilliant.
And then they've done a lot of focus on digital nomads and bringing people into the Algarve to kind of capitalize on what it's good at and to bring different money and different GDP and different businesses into it. So, you know,
Yeah,
you can't sell the Algarve like you can Lisbon, but you can sell it differently, and that's what they do. So they say, well, it's a really lovely place to be, and there's some amazing stuff here, and you can have a really good quality of life. And actually, it's, you know, cost-wise, it's a little bit less than being in Lisbon and being in Porto. So if you bring your tech people here, well, actually, your money goes a long way. And by the way, there's a really great airport here that goes to a lot of the places that you want to go to, and it's a lot cheaper than the flights that come from Lisbon. So now it starts to make a lot more sense.
Hell yeah.
But the question before was, there's not a lot here, so why should I be here? And now there's a lot more going on. There's that momentum, that kind of cascade. So this summit is one of the catalysts that bring that together.
And where is that centralized? Because the Algarve's a very big place, of course, isn't it? And Faro is a district as well as a city, a town. Where would you find the main activity, the tech activity in the Algarve?
So the Algarve Tech Hub, which is in the campus of the University of the Algarve, that's probably the first place I go.
Yeah.
And then the 9 incubators of those, the one that everybody seems to know is the one in the racetrack at Portimao. So I think if you go, any one of those has got sort of like 20 or 30 startups associated with it, but the Algarve Tech Hub's got a lot more.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot going on if you look for it.
Well
and then
done, Portugal, because I mean it was something, wasn't it? And that's where I met you in the humming Lisbon tech startup incubator scene. I mean, which is incredible and still is, and I'm sure it's even more exciting now. Then Porto's got some of that action as well, isn't it? Matosinhos is a real tech center. So Porto's a great place to be, and now you can add to that the Algarve, which is amazing. And as you say, what a fabulous place to be. You know, if you don't really need that seriously, deeply metropolitan, cosmopolitan lifestyle vibe, and you're happy to be by the beach and have a more of a rural vibe, the Algarve's perfect, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's attracted a lot of foreigners of different ages as well. So you might think, okay, Algarve and retirement makes sense. And yes, there are quite a few high net worths that have moved over. Dengen, which is one of the companies behind all of this, they just launched a founders program, a sort of accelerator program with 300k investment for startups that go through that program. And one of their investors, he was like employee 9 or 16 or something of IKEA. So he's come to retire, but also invest in things in the Algarve. Brilliant. Okay, and that's quite normal, but also the digital nomad stuff is, I'll call them kids because I'm 51 now, but you know, kids in their sort of mid to early 20s coming over and saying, well, you know, I'm doing my digital nomad stuff. I make 3,000 to 5,000 euros a month through whatever I'm doing online, and if I do that in the Algarve, I get a great quality of life and I don't burn all of that. Whereas if I do that in London, I burn that on my apartment.
So why would room costs in London? Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. No, it's huge. And then they can fly into London or fly in to see clients whenever they need to, but most of the time they're remote. So you get this different vibrancy and this multicultural vibrancy.
Yeah. Or you can say to your clients, come see me in the Algarve. You know, let's not meet in your office. Come over to the Algarve. That's fabulous news for Portugal in general. Have you got any other examples of great companies then that are emerging from that scene?
Well, I think after the Dengen Founders Program, maybe I'll come back and let you know which ones are coming through there. But there's quite a lot of digital, and interestingly, of course, tourism is a massive part of the region. So there's a lot of companies that have been grown to do digital tourism stuff, but also healthcare. Bizarrely, there's an awful lot that I never realised around healthcare in the Algarve and the hospital network and everything. And digital healthcare is also quite important. And with such a large demographic that is older in the Algarve, digital as in it's more remote and it's harder to get to the hospital, so why wouldn't you want some sort of digital enablement at home?
Well said.
That stuff is starting to pick up as well, so let's see where it goes.
Very, very good. Okay, we'll talk about Web Summit, the big thing that the big tech
yes.
event that Portugal's famous for, of course, all around the world. Before we do that, you're fairly new to the Good Morning Portugal show screen, and it'd be good to learn a bit more about Canopy and what you do. And I think you are a very important person here in our community, potentially, because we have quite a lot of retirees with considerable business experience who've come to Portugal. And now they've got settled, they've reached peak pastel de nata or whatever it is.
That's 3 a day, right? Come on.
It is. And you sat there one day, and I have my annual pastel de nata moment. I eat them a lot, but there's definitely an anniversary one to celebrate being here each year. And I remember the first cafe I went to when I got the authentic nata in the middle of the countryside, actually near Tamar, and a coffee. And I like to recreate that picture. And I think there's a light and a dark side to that. It's lovely to have a coffee and a nata. And then there's also that moment where you think, okay, I've done this now. I'm sat here in my dream destination. I might be retired. I've got my pastel de nata and coffee. And actually, there's a bit more to life as well. There's a bit more I'd like to do. And we've got a growing number of those people in our community, I think, who think, I've got all this business experience, and there are names on this screen who've said to me this, previously, I'd like to give something back. I don't want that knowledge to go to waste. Looks to me, Stewart, like you could be a useful person to know for them to apply that experience and knowledge from industry and give it to these youngsters, these kids you were talking about earlier on.
So we have it's very kind of you to say that, Colin, and I really do commend how well you've settled into Portugal as well since we first talked about this in Exeter. You just seem to love the country and you've integrated really well. Stuff is amazing. Yeah. I am a cake de manteiga person, by the way. That for me is definitive. I don't know if you've had one of those.
I don't think I have. Butter cake.
Butter cake, yeah, absolutely. And a warm one of those with a small coffee about 8 o'clock in the morning. That's a perfect start to the day.
All right.
But,
for that.
So for all those people that have got the business experience, we've got a couple of different routes that we do mentoring inside Canopy, and it's very much there are some what we'll call the tribal elders people within Canopy. So there's about 14 of us that do all this kind of knowledge sharing stuff, and we're located in Boston and in Lisbon and in all sorts of places in the UK and stuff, and even in Bangalore. So there's a big mixture of us that do this. Yeah. And then so this mentoring stuff, partly we interview people who are in the community to get their knowledge out. Yeah. And they might do that as what we call a how-to share. They might take a deliberate thing that they share, like a long-form hour about, and then we can turn that into a nice transcript nowadays, get some summaries out, turn it into little shorts, turn that all around and share that with people. And then we also do what we call close mentoring. So if you've recently done something like raise money or sell your company or something, then you might mentor somebody who's maybe a year behind you and kind of pull them through with your experience. Fabulous. And it's kind of Control-C, Control-V, and then change the 20% that's right for you. And now you're 50% faster than you thought you were going to be, right? Because you're not reinventing the wheel and doing it really badly. You're building on that. So those two things. And a big part of the virtual community that we've got is this peer sharing thing. So it's an open forum where people can say, I'm looking for this, I'm trying to do this, I need a bit of a hand with this. Here's my question today, I don't know what I'm doing. And it's not just the 14 of us that are answering it. It will be anybody in the community that can do that. So if people want to join that community, it's a super low barrier to entry. That's part of the manifesto of Canopy. I think it's €12 a year at the moment to join at a community level, get involved in those kind of peer discussions and start to gain access to everything, including the events, which are always zero barrier to entry so that anybody can walk in the door, whatever their age and experience, and be part of it. And that's been the way of things since we started in Somerville, Massachusetts in 2016.
That is wonderful. And of course, I think what happens with Canopy is you get more and more involved, don't you? You sort of tentatively have a look, see what's going on. And before you know it, you were at one of your presentation evenings in Lisbon, having a fantastic time with other entrepreneurs and people in business. And incidentally, talking of settling into Portugal, Good Morning Portugal LDA is happening as well now, Stewart. So I might have something to share with other people who want to know about the nuts and bolts of starting a company in Portugal, because it's not easy. They say it is. They say you can do it in a 48 hours. Some even say, I think, 24 hours. Technically, yes, as in, you can learn anything in X number of hours, but that not all in one go. They don't tell you that bit. So it's been quite an arduous process. But yeah, back to Canopy, presentation evenings, a great scene to belong to. And of course, that focus will find itself at Web Summit, I think, of which you're an integral part now. So what an amazing event Web Summit is. We've talked about the Algarve, and we've talked about Portugal generally and the entrepreneurial scene here. What an incredible contribution that is to World Tech, the Web Summit. When's that happening? What's that all about this year?
So it's a couple of weeks away, week of the 11th. It's an amazing gift to Portugal, and it's obviously been doing its thing for 8 years now. And there are 3 years left on the calendar, depending on what everybody decides with their renewal and stuff.
Okay.
So for any, what we do in Canopy is we treat that Web Summit week as like a highlight week, and the demo night is the best demo night that we can do during that week. We run an accelerator program as well in that week, and we have a party, which I hope you'll be coming to, Carl. I don't know if you're in Lisbon for that week, but you should have had your VIP invite by now.
I did. Thank you very much for that, yes.
And there's so much that happens with 70,000 people coming into Lisbon during that week.
Yeah.
I've done years where I've not even been to the conference, and I've just done the fringe events.
Yeah.
And you get so much out of those as well if you go to the right ones and the embassy ones and stuff. And last year, Peter Allen, who curates this innovation scene in Portugal website, he curated about 260 fringe events in the week on top of what's going on in the summit. So if you come to Lisbon, you haven't got a ticket, or you can't find a ticket, you can't afford a ticket, the fringe events are usually free, and you get fed, and you get drink in those as well. And just go onto Eventbrite or to meetup.com and have a little look and see what's there, because there's a lot to discover, and a lot of people, you'll see a lot walking around with their Web Summit badges on, and it'll be like you're in the conference half the time with the amount of people that are there.
Yeah,
but it's wonderful. It really is. If you're this way inclined towards startups, entrepreneurship, investment, business type stuff, it's a place that you should just love being part of. You know, you sit at any table in any street, see a lanyard, say hello, how's the conference going, and chat away, and it's lovely.
It is an incredible vibe. I mean, Lisbon has an incredible atmosphere anyway all year, and then something happens in that particular week, and it's the most extraordinary event, isn't it? With 70,000 people extra in the population, is that right, during the event?
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons it came to Lisbon in the first place was because they, and it's my phraseology, not the official one, but Web Summit broke Dublin in terms of infrastructure and stuff. So it got to the point where it's nearly 50,000 people, and people couldn't book a hotel, they couldn't book a flight, they were being gouged at like €300 a night for stuff. The Wi-Fi wasn't working in most of the places because there was so much going on. All the pubs were packed and the streets were crowded, and they just couldn't make it work. And eventually they got so upset with not being able to change the things they needed to change to grow the conference more that they started looking around for somewhere else. And Portugal and Lisbon did a great deal. And actually, João Vasconcelos, who did that deal, he's the inspiration behind our Canopy initiatives at the moment. So yeah, one of the things he announced when he the team kind of brought Web Summit to Portugal was the idea that it would inspire a new generation of entrepreneurs in Portugal.
It's done that, hasn't it?
Well, yes, but no, but in my English phrase, right? So what it's done is it's created a lot of tech, and it's created a lot of digital jobs, and it's really got a lot of young people through into jobs with Deloitte and KPMG and Devo Team and all these kind of things, and that's great. But what it hasn't done is engendered that spirit that he wanted. And I remember the talks that he gave, you know, before he passed and stuff, and he was very inspirational about the idea about being brave, being bold, build back Portugal, become an entrepreneur, and start your startup. And this was his whole mantra, and that DNA hasn't been passed on. So a few of us in March, when we got together, kind of looked at that, and we started to create these initiatives which are engaging with young people to inspire their entrepreneurship DNA and to give them the skills and resilience that they might have. And we hope to honor the legacy from him to do that.
Funnily enough, I'm writing about that because I'm starting the LDA myself. I'm writing about that in the Portugal Resident this week. I should have come to you for a quote on that. And yes, it's been great globally, isn't it, Web Summit? You could argue that Web Summit has been in Portugal and in Lisbon has had a greater effect for people who don't live here than people who do live here in many ways.
Yeah, and it's done some really cool things, because when people came, they were like, "What is this Portugal? You know, what do you have here?" And they kept asking that question, which forced everybody to think, "Well, what do we have here?" And then it was like, "Well, you've got some startups now. That's super interesting, but do you have any scale-ups?" And they were like, "Oh, I don't know." And then this scale-up report came out, and it started to become this measure, this barometer of what was happening. And then people said, "Well, how much money is really invested in Portugal? You know, this is such a small country." And now there are sort of like 5-6 unicorns that have come through the country. They're going, "Oh, this is quite interesting. There's only 10 million people, and it's really nice here." And it all starts to build the story. And it'd be interesting, you know, if they don't renew after the 3 years, what happens to the scene after that? Because it has been like this. The serendipity with my journey is that I arrived in Portugal around 2016, and I was running Fabrica de Startups as the COO there, with Antonio, the founder, at the year when Web Summit came. So I feel like ecosystems emerged while I've been here. And for those people that talk about, you know, Startup Lisbon, etc., that was maybe 2 years before.
Wow.
So there just wasn't anything much before that point.
Yeah.
Now it's something amazing. Will it continue to rise and be as vibrant without the Web Summit vibe? Nobody knows. I certainly hope so, and it's certainly got the right ingredients too. But there's this nothing like this incredible spotlight that happens every November and really focuses.
It does help. Yeah, it does help, doesn't it? And you mentioned unicorns. I bring dinosaurs into it as well. And I think the traditional mythological creature that symbolizes Portuguese business is a dinosaur. And I don't mean that just in a bad way. It's like it is. I mean, it is a bit dinosaurish in the negative sense. You know, I think the unwillingness to embrace, you know, rapid and fast change and failing fast and all that sort of thing. It's not necessarily within the traditional Portuguese business culture. But what I didn't realize, and what I've come to love and understand about Portuguese business, is there are a lot of family-run businesses here that have been here for generations. It's not a startup culture, essentially, culturally, is it? It's a long-term. People have businesses to support the family here. And that's very much a part of how business is run here. And when you understand that, you can approach it in a different way, rather than like, yeah, come on, let's just start a business and fail fast. It's very expensive to fail fast in Portugal, I think.
You know, one of the cultural things I look at, Carl, the other way is there's a lot of family stuff that happens in Portugal, right?
Yes,
and when you're in a family group and a wider family group with cousins and uncles and aunts, there's a lot of dinner table discussions.
Yes.
And obviously there's a lot of caring about what happens. And if you rock up and you say, I'm going to do this thing, which is more than 90% likely to fail, and I'll probably lose a bit of money in a few years of my life, and I'll probably be really stressed and might actually be mentally or physically ill during this process, your uncles, your aunts, and your cousins will say,
why would you do
I don't
that?
think that's a good idea.
That's
right. And they're probably right in a lot of regards, right? But that closeness is then it's not going to suffocate you, but it will stop you. Maybe you won't want to break the bonds with your family to do that.
Quite, yes.
And that was one of the things that Joao was amazing at. Because, you know, you can call it a bad thing, but it's kind of social engineering. He was giving the cultural cover to say to your families, this is actually a good thing for the country that I'm doing. This is not just my whimsy as a young entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And you also find that the further people are from being born before or on 1973, the more likely they are to be more able to jump into this stuff.
We are seeing that, and I'm sure you're a part of that. We're talking to Claudio Martins from UrHome in just a moment. He's a great example of a young business-minded guy here in Portugal who I think bridges those two worlds. How lovely to have a strong family to support you when you're running a business, and how excellent to have access to these new ideas that I think are more and more prevalent, thanks to Web Summit, thanks to Canopy, thanks to people like you coming to Portugal and sharing that knowledge and looking at things in a different way. It's a wonderful hybrid.
Yeah, and it could be and is in a lot of ways one of the strongest ecosystems.
Yes.
And if I can use an American phrase with a slight cuss word in it, Carl, is that okay at this time of the day?
You have warned everybody, so go ahead.
Yeah, so Portugal is the least assholes per capita ecosystem of any that I've ever worked in. Right? So because people are collegiate and supportive, right, rather than crawling over each other. And that's one of the reasons I've been able to work here and why I've enjoyed working here. Because
it's true.
It's a floats all boats thing. Interestingly, it's sometimes a bit weird when you meet fellow or sort of diaspora people outside of Portugal. They can sometimes feel competitive with each other in foreign territories, which is weird.
Yes.
And I've watched that a few times, like a car crash. But in country, what we're looking at is how does everybody thrive? And everybody knows they've got to go out of the country to internationalize, to make a big market.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like, well, how can I help you do this? And I've just been there, and maybe I can take you with me, and maybe I can show you what I've done. It's super cool.
Excellent.
And that's north, south, east, and west as well. It's all over the country. You find that kind of
less assholes per capita, is it, or square meter?
Least assholes per capita of any ecosystem I've worked in.
Not just ecosystem. I think that's something about the whole country in every respect as well. That ratio. Long may it continue, and long may it stay low like that. Cheers, Stu. Have a great time in the Algarve, and looking forward. Hope to meet you at around Web Summit time, because it'll be mad and brilliant and inspiring to be in the capital at that time as well. Have a great flight this morning, and welcome back to your Manteiga cake on arrival, I suspect.
Thanks, mate. See you later.
Right,
nice to be here.
Bye for now.
Bye, mate.
Safe flight. Ciao, ciao. Right, now let's go to Claudio. We're going to have a nice experience now. I think he's on the move again. Let's keep the applause going for him.
Hello.
Oh, look at this. We're having a ride with you.
Right. Today is a movement ride, because there was a massive car crash, like with one truck, 5 cars. So the traffic was a little chaotic today.
Yes, well, thank you so much for being with us nonetheless. I won't keep you too long, because you're obviously busy and trying to get to work. And this was the prang that was on the road earlier on this morning. You've obviously made your way around that. I thought you had the top down. You've got the sunroof showing the beautiful blue sky above you.
Yeah. This actually, I was at the event yesterday, a prop tech event about innovating and cutting edge in real estate. So it was a very nice event. And actually, I was speaking with some people there from the UK. They were amazed. They were the first time here in Portugal, and were saying, how is it possible to be on October, almost November, and you still have this weather?
Well, come on, UK people. We know this. We know this. Get yourselves over here. It is beautiful. I mean, we're definitely having a late summer, because we didn't really have a proper summer.
Yeah, for sure. Today is 19 degrees. The sun is blazing. The day is really, really beautiful today.
It's looking like a great way for you. Apart from the traffic incident earlier on, it looks like you're going to have a great day ahead of you. What a lovely way to start work, with a beautiful blue sky above you.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that marathon run of yours.
It was amazing. A very nice experience. It was very, very nice. I was able to do the full run without stop, so the 42 kilometers without stop. And I did it in 3 hours and 58 minutes, and my goal was going 4 hours. So it was the ice on the cake after 5 months of hard work training.
Well done. And look, there's the wonderful aqueduct. Oh wow, you're I can see where you are in Lisbon through your sunroof.
I'm almost crossing the bridge.
Oh, marvelous! We might be able to see that through your sunroof in a minute as well. So well done on cracking the 4 hours there. You described it as a nice experience. I mean, it must be really hard work. Was there a massive euphoria afterwards?
Yeah, the thing is, I had people waiting at the finish line, and they actually told me that I didn't even look that I was finished running 42 kilometers, because I was super good. My friends of the run club, they had a meeting point at mile 35, and they say to me afterwards that I was one of the better looking people that passed by them, because 35 kilometers is already too hard. But it was very nice, because it's always along the river. The weather wasn't too hot. It was like raining and wasn't clear sun, so the weather was perfect. And it was just enjoying the ride. I met so many people during the run. I had a very blast. People shouting in the street, everyone cheering. And I think one of the best parts about a marathon is everyone, the elites, the amateurs, people that are struggling and make a vow to complete a marathon for loved ones or something like that. And everyone in the same place. And everyone, depending of your nationality, your race, your gender, everyone there is there to support you, to help you finish the marathon. Everyone is cheering for you, giving you kudos, giving you strength. And it's an amazing experience. And if you are losing faith on humanity, go watch finish line of a marathon, and your faith on humanity is going to be renewed, because the amount of people that are helping there is amazing.
What a lovely idea. And I'd never seen it that way. To me, it just sounds like, oh my goodness, I can't imagine running for 4 hours. And that sounds like really, really hard work. And no, Global Nobles, we probably won't be doing Team Gumper at the next year's Ironman, but that's maybe where Claudio's going with this. Are you going to do another one? Are you doing, or was this just a particular
So
sort
the so the plan is next year I'm going to do the half marathon of Lisbon, Prague, Copenhagen, Cardiff, and Valencia.
Are you?
Yeah, because there is like a special medal for 6 marathons in Europe, and after
Yeah.
you finish those 6, you get a special medal that is called the Circuit of the Super Halves. And when I
Right.
finish that, I want to finish the 6 runs in 2 years. That I will start with a major circuit for the marathons. That is Tokyo, Berlin, London, Chicago, Boston, and New York.
You're incredible. You're incredible, Claudio. Okay, right. We're with you all the way. Not literally, but what an
Yeah,
incredible achievement that'll be. Fantastic. Well done. And Global
yeah,
Nobles
yeah.
also
It's you also
that's
get a medal. Yeah,
you get a medal.
but yeah,
What for the
if you really, yeah, he has 6-star medals with
yeah,
the logo of each run. It's very nice. And like I
yes,
told you, finishing a marathon is an incredible feeling
I
because
bet.
human beings were built to run. We
Right.
weren't built to move. For example, if you see, there are only 4 animals run a marathon than humans. So
Yeah,
if you
right.
line up humans and other races to do like a 100-meter dash, you're
Yeah.
going to be smoked. But humans, the way to evolve was to hunt in the long run. So
Yes.
mammoths, elephants. So we hunt other animals to in the way that we are running after them until they are super tired. So the human was built to run distance. So
All
it's
right,
natural
fair
for
enough.
us.
I'll bear that in mind. And look, we're going over the bridge. Woohoo! As well, 25 de Abril. Here we go. I think, have you passed it now?
Yeah,
Okay, that's amazing. Morning to you, Rui Correa, as
yeah,
well.
you can
Thank you for
see
being. Oh, there we go. There's a
you
bit of it. Oh, look at you. All right, easy, steady on.
you can see
Oh,
the
fantastic.
news.
Oh, bless you. You know how
And
excited
crystal
I
right
get
there.
about going across that bridge. Fantastic. What a wonderful thing to be able to do this morning. Cheers for that, Claudia. Now, this marathon, the other marathon that you're involved with in developing the Herdade Do Meio site, it must feel like a bit of a marathon sometimes. How are things going on over there?
Yeah, so Herdade, I don't know if you are listening to me.
Yeah, we've got you. We've got you back.
How can you hear?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I
Loud and
lost.
clear.
Ah, okay,
No,
okay, okay.
we've got you. Yeah.
In the bridge, the network is a little. Yeah, yeah. So we got new renders for the Herdade Do Meio. So everyone can go and check it out on our website. Basically, the renders are done with the examples of the materials that we are going to use on the construction. So the finishings there, it's a really accurate estimate how the houses are going to look when they are finished.
Yeah. I've got a little video to show as well with a little selection there. But generally, how are things going then? Getting exciting now, I'm guessing.
He's getting very excited. We are almost done doing the foundations of every house. Right now we are just due to complete 2 that we didn't did it yet because they are in the middle of the parts for the tracks, so it's easier to do it when we already have every house completed. We already have 2 houses that we are trying the plumbing and the electric part. So if you come to the site now, you see like worker bees everywhere around,
Yeah.
trucks coming in every day. You see a massive increase on the houses, and it's reaching a point that we are going to start to work on the inside of the house. So now you can basically see the whole site. All the houses are basically already up, and you can see the massive size of the Herdade Do Meio that is really, really super impressive the dimension of the project that we are doing.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Claudio. Despite being held up in the traffic, we've had a lovely conversation with you. Always great to check in with you. An inspirational man, and all the best with the continued development at Herdade Do Meio. We hope to be there again soon. We'll do a live broadcast from there, maybe when there's a little bit more finishing done on the homes. And have a great day. Thank you for taking
Thank you, Carl.
for a ride in your car as well this morning.
Thank you, Carl. Bye-bye.
All right. Love to Bobby as well and all the team over there. Take care, mate. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye for now. Bye for now. Right. And just very quickly, before we welcome Marco onto the screen, we've got a little bit of a video of those finishes that he was talking about. It's a short, less than a minute long, and then we'll bring Marco on straight after. Going to be like to live at Herdade Do Meio, and you won't have to get involved in traffic jams. If you live on the other side of that river, the opposite journey to the one that Claudio was making, you can be on the train and you can cross that bridge on the lower deck that we just drove over. You can go to the city, the big city, on the train in about 15 minutes, I think, from Herdade Do Meio. So keep up the good work over there, Bobby and Claudio, and we'll speak to you again soon. Let's bring him onto the screen now. It's Marco from the Storyteller's Palace, the king of the Storyteller's Palace. Let's bring him on. Hola, bom dia.
Hi, good morning. How
are you today? How are
Tudo
you?
bem. Yes.
Right. Well, we
Beautiful
missed
day
you
in-
yesterday. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
beautiful day in São Martinho.
it is absolutely
Yeah.
beautiful. We're finally getting a summer, aren't we? This
Yeah.
this actually is a San Martino summer. It's what the Portuguese call a late summer, isn't it? San Martino summer.
Yes, until the 11th of November. Yeah.
Very good.
Usually
Very good.
when we eat the chestnuts and drink wine.
Oh, any excuse, right? And we found out about the wine event that's happening this Friday. Miguel did a great job yesterday, and we heard about some lovely food that you're making and some surprises to come as well. And the Tejo winemaker. I'd like to zoom out a little bit, if I might use a filmic description there, and find out more about you and the Storyteller's Palace itself, because you've always been a storyteller. And you've moved that way of seeing the world from film and TV into the hotel experience. So tell us a bit more about yourself, Marco, and how the Storyteller's Palace, the now legendary Storyteller's Palace, came about here in San Martino.
Yeah, actually it's quite similar to having an hotel or writing a script for a miniseries, because you get engaged with your guests, and then you have a lot of stories that you heard, and then you can tell to the other ones. And it's like bringing an episode that you never watched to a group of people that are open to hear new stories, and the people love it.
Yes.
Because everybody that lives here says that it's an excellent experience. Some of them say it's one of the best experiences, and the stories make the difference.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I think hospitality is about receiving and making the people feel at home, like we do, but then telling stories. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you want to find, I would say, a stream of inspiration, this is the place, because every day I hear beautiful stories. People from different countries, different experiences, different backgrounds, and all of them, the majority of them, with very interesting stories.
And where are people coming from in the world to visit the Storyteller's Palace now?
Wow. Yesterday we had a group of 4 people dining. I asked the question, where are you from? And said, oh, it's quite a story. Because one was British, that he lived in Singapore for many years. Now he's living in Saudi Arabia. And he came to Portugal because he loves Portugal, to meet a friend. And the wife was from Singapore, and the friend was from America. And all the stories were amazing and beautiful. So now the majority of them actually came from United States, Belgium, Netherlands, England. We have now lots of British coming too, and from people that are abroad. We had the CEO of Procter and Gamble from Singapore. Actually, he's
Really?
a Swiss. Yes, he is a Swiss guy now. He's a CEO in Switzerland of Procter and Gamble, and he lived 25 years in Singapore. Mark, and what was nice. Sorry.
You're a busy man, we understand.
Yeah. No. It's the alarm clock for your show that I didn't turn it off, and then he lived 25 years in Singapore, and these kids that were here, his wife is Portuguese, and they speak Mandarin, and they speak English, and they speak French, German, and it was amazing. They were 15 years old and 17, and said, "Wow." And they spoke Mandarin normally, and said, "This is quite good because when we are in Singapore or China, we can hear all the conversation. No one gives a damn because they think that we don't understand." So it's quite nice.
Wow, that's quite the contrast, isn't it? My
Yeah.
sister lives in Singapore, and life in Singapore, it's an amazing country. I'm not sure they've got anything like the Storyteller's Palace. I guess the closest Raffles might be the closest experience, mightn't it? Raffles might have that same ancient, well, not ancient, but nostalgic and beautiful.
Nostalgic, yes.
Yes.
That's what's going to happen to the Friday night, because we're going to have an experience that we had it before. I think you were here. And when we heard the person playing the music in this space, what the instruments will play, it's a nostalgic moment because it makes you go back in time. And it was a chilling experience, when we were hearing a play, and then in this palace with that sound that goes across the walls, and was quite an experience.
So she'll be back. She'll be playing the violin. There'll be beautiful wine, beautiful food, and an amazing experience this Friday. You've also got a lunch next Wednesday, hosted by Gabby. So if people want to come and have a lunch, a slightly more modest, but it'll be still a delicious experience next Wednesday.
Yes, and we are full experience, because then on next Friday we will have the Halloween party. Yes, so we have a dinner, and then we have a disco party for people who want to celebrate the Halloween. So they can. With costumes and with horrific dresses and characterizations, and yes,
and a DJ as well. Yes. Are you doing something for Christmas as well? Because I mean, just this idea of like somebody coming from Singapore, they end up in autumnal or winter San Martino de Porto with that view across the bay. That's a lovely experience. It ranks up there, doesn't it, as fantastic experiences around the world, I would say, to be in San Martino de Porto. You sat there and you're thinking, this is precious, and it probably won't always be like this. As more and more people find out about it, that's how things work with tourism, isn't it? We won't have this peace and tranquility here necessarily.
Yeah, that's true. And this is changing, because I was looking for the story. I don't know the history of this. I don't know if you know, but the big caravels were built in São Martinho, in Alfazarão.
Yes,
yes. The river was wider, and the boats used to be made here and go down to Lisbon, and from Lisbon go to discover the world. And so all these bays changed a lot in the last 500 years. So we have to be careful, because the movement of what I'm watching of sand underneath it in a few years, probably you cannot come through. Yeah, it's a pity, but if you don't protect it, it's something going to happen.
My 5-year-old son, pointed out at Salir de Porto on the other side of the bay. He said, remarkably, as a 5-year-old, he said, "Is that an ancient human settlement over there?" And I'm thinking, wow, okay, yes, I think it was. In fact, I don't think it's where people lived. I think it was the docks on that side of the bay where the Portuguese fleet were harbored. I mean, so there's incredible history in this bay, and I think you could take a lot of credit for continuing the global notoriety of the place and the experience that people can have in your hotel there. Storyteller's Palace, Larry Marcola is the real never-ending story for us.
Wow, Larry's talking to us. Yeah,
yes, he is, live from Arizona. We can't wait for the next chapter. And I was asking you, so are you having a Christmas experience? Could people come and stay with you for Christmas as well?
As you know, my kids were brought up in American school, so we have 2 Christmas here. Because I celebrate the Thanksgiving. So on the last Thursday of November, And last year was a nice experience because we had people from Britain, from Spain, and from Switzerland. The Spanish and the Swiss never did a Thanksgiving dinner, so they want to come for the experience, and was
Amazing.
marvelous. And another nice story last year was a couple from America called us to spend the Thanksgiving with us, but they missed the plane because was some reschedule. So they said, "Oh God, we are in Newark airport. We cannot go. We are delayed 14 hours. What's gonna happen?" I said, "I can keep it for tomorrow, and we have the Thanksgiving tomorrow." They came, yes, and they came the
Oh,
next day.
bless
So
you.
yeah, so it was nice. So we had a nice Thanksgiving, and then we are doing the Christmas. We have already people booked. Some of them British because they are alone here, couples, and
Yeah.
they want to celebrate with some more people. So we are arranging a special menu. I didn't finish the menu because I was doing this one for wine pairing, and now I will work on Christmas Day and Christmas Eve menus.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so this Friday, wine experience 13 at the table. Next Wednesday, the expat circle lunch. Halloween the week after, Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's how it's
Yeah,
shaping
that's it.
up.
Yes.
How do you do your turkey, Marco? Traditional or with a Portuguese twist?
I'm doing with a Portuguese twist,
Of course. So
but I'm doing the pumpkin pie that the Americans love it. So yes,
okay,
pumpkin
great.
is the American one. The turkey is Portuguese turkey.
It's
Is yes,
excellent. All right,
yes,
Marco, thank you so much for popping in. Looking forward to seeing you on Friday. And go to the storytellerspalace.com online to find out more and make a booking. And let Marco know that you've seen him on the show here and that you'll have the most amazing experiences. I'm sure Larry will tell you.
yes.
Larry
Larry,
popped in for a drink, didn't
yes.
he, one day? And the rest
Okay.
is history.
Love to and to Linda. A big kiss
Of
to Linda.
course. Love to
Yes.
Larry and Linda. Cheers, Marco. Have a great
Cheers.
day. Thank you for
Okay,
popping in.
bye-bye.
All right. Bye for now, mate. Ciao, ciao. Right. There he goes. Isn't he amazing? What an amazing group of people we've had on the screen this morning. We've also got help going on in the chat. Rui, well done helping Jackie start a business in Portugal. Thank you so much, Rui. I want to employ a Portuguese accountant. Come to me for that. I'm not a Portuguese accountant, but we've got a great person who deals with that sort of thing, Jackie. Thank you, Rui, for your help in the chat this morning. We should go to the God Squad tip of the day, and we've got a video from yesterday. God Squad tip of the day. Then we looked at knee extension yesterday. Hold on, I want to find out what the coach is talking about with bananas. Bom dia, Gampas e Feliz Carta. It's hump day already. So how's the week going for you? Gardening for me today, putting some of our plants to bed for the winter. Oh, I hope you read them a little story. So it's bye banana. He's got a banana palm in his garden. Very nice. God Squad tip of the day. We looked at knee extension yesterday. So now we need to improve the outer end of the range of movement. Who doesn't like a range of movement first thing in the morning? If you can already bend your legs so your heel almost touches your backside, then don't worry. But if not, try this exercise. Sitting on the floor, bend one leg as far as is comfortable, keeping your foot on the ground, then wrap your hands around the ankle and very gently pull towards. It's like a stretch before running, isn't it? Hold for a few seconds. I'm told. Hold for a few seconds, then release. Repeat about 10 times on both legs and 3 to 5 times a day. You'll gradually improve the range of movement and then can start strengthening. As always, if you feel pain, stop it. Stop doing the exercises. Try again the following day, but even more gently. Very good. And we'll play that video from yesterday to illustrate the God Squad tip of the day from yesterday. Hey, Chris. Good morning. Good to see you. I stayed at the Storytellers Palace. My God, it was great. That was a fantastic review. I'll have to screenshot that and send that to Marco as well. My God, it was great. Oh, my good, it was great. I'm gonna send that to him straight away now. To Marco, if I can find him in my busy WhatsApp here. Yeah, 913-590-303. If you've got anything to send me, lovely message. That's gone to Marco now. Thank you, Chris. Yes, it was fantastic. I better send him that one as well, hadn't I? Okay, that's going to Marco as well. Well done. When are you coming back to the Bay, Chris? That's also going to Marco as well. And additionally, oh yes, get your social security contribution started. I think a point Pete was making earlier on, it's not as easy as starting a business in the UK. There are a lot of costs that you need to know about, because if you don't pay those costs, you'll get fines on top of your costs. Carl, thank you so much. As soon as you've done registration and bank sorted, you'll be coming to me for the accountancy details, and that's a pleasure. You speak to Raquel as well. Thank you all so much for the advice, you guys. That's what it's all about. Ask anything about Portugal Wednesday, and that's what we do here, the Hump Day Q&A. And it's so humbling seeing all the help and advice. Well, that's what we're here for, even in these days when it's really easy to find out things about moving to Portugal, isn't it? Things have changed a lot in the 4 years that we've been doing this. However, I think what people need now is live and direct responses, and that's what we do every morning, potentially here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Help in real time. Okay, so you've had your God Squad tip of the day. Here's the illustration from yesterday's, which we'll go out with for anybody who needed to see that and that particular exercise. But before we do, I think this sums up the essence of what the God Squad tips of the day are about. It's gentle fitness for bon viveurs. So first we'll go to a bon viveur, Antonio Barbosa, Tony Time, man in the Minho, who was here. He popped in earlier this morning, and here he is living the good life. And then we'll do a little bit of exercise after this. And I'll see you again tomorrow morning. Take care and bye for now. Oh, I need to voice over this one. He's having his dessert. Is he having hot chocolate poured on his pudding? Who doesn't like that first thing in the morning? Yes, Antonio. He's loving that. Look at that high altitude chocolate pouring. Enjoy. Big thumbs up there from Antonio. Yes. I think he probably needs a little bit of a liqueur to go with that. Can someone grab that man an aguardente or a nice little Beral to go with that pudding there? And here, to develop a bit of help and strength with the knees, over to the coach. See you tomorrow morning.
Well, hello, bon dia. As you may have worked out, we're looking at knee pain and how to improve it this week, which I guess is really about trying to avoid knee surgery, because in my experience, and I've had a few friends that have been through it, it's painful, and if you're paying for it privately, it can be expensive. But it also, while it fixes the problem in the short term, after a few years, you might have to have it done all over again. So to avoid it in the first place is a good thing. So this is really to look at how you can improve the situation and hopefully avoid it, any surgery completely, or at least put it off for some time. And the first thing we need to do is assess what your knee mobility is like, and you can do that yourself. And it's twofold. Firstly, if I just move this, it's how far the knee goes down when you're sitting like this or lying down. Can you pass your hand underneath it? Mine's not too bad. And mostly that issue is because I've got quite built up hamstrings and calves. So it kind of has to sit up there. But for most people, if you can pass your hand underneath there, then you know that you're not really extending fully. You can see just under my knee, as I move my leg, it moves down. So that's one movement. The other movement is bringing it up towards yourself. Have you got a really good range of movement? And you know, from my sprinting training, mine's not bad. So that's good. But how do we improve that extension? Well, if you take something like a bolster or a pillow, or, I mean, I've got a little hog, it's Mrs. T's hog, I've pinched it for a time. Put it under your ankle so that your knee is off the ground, and then sitting up, in fact, it's probably easier to pull that leg up just to give you a bit of balance. Just gently push the knee down, putting your hands just above the knee. Just gently push it down, hold for a few seconds, and release. And do that 15, 20 times. Try and do it 2 or 3 times a day. And gradually you will improve this extension here so that it'll gradually get closer and closer to the ground when you put it down like that. And that's the idea behind that. So we'll have a look tomorrow at how you can improve this movement, how you can get your knee up towards your chest and this bent really quite close, so your foot's close to your backside, and then you get really good range of movement. And once you've done that, you can begin to work on the strength. So we'll look at that tomorrow. Hope that helps and begins you on a path to improving your knee health.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.